Hello everyone. For this month of March, we have prepared a series of 10 special posts and videos with very special women from the EOT community. Make sure you subscribe to our channels to watch all the videos, and here's our video for today. Hi, I'm Leonora Haranaka from Talking EFL, and I'm here today to talk with Isabela Villas Boas. She holds a master's degree in teaching English as a second language from Arizona State University and a PhD in education from Universidade de Brasília. She has been at Casa Thomas Jefferson for 32 years, where she is currently the academic superintendent. She also supervises MA dissertations for the University of Birmingham, super fancy. Yeah, and she has recently published the book Teaching EFL Writing, a practical approach for skills integrated context, which is amazing, by the way. So Isabela, welcome to Talking EFL, and thank you so much for being with us on a holiday.
No problem. Holidays are actually the best time because that's when we can have some free time and talk without having to worry about meetings and schedules and everything else.
Definitely. So thank you so much. You've been involved and you became a reference in teacher training for some time now. And what are the main challenges that you have faced so far?
Well, there are lots of challenges, right? I mean, yeah, I started as a teacher trainer very early in my career. Well, as you mentioned, I've been at CTJ for 32 years. I started in August of 1986. I was a teacher for about 4 years until I was invited to be a course supervisor. And that's when I started getting involved with teacher training because not only are we responsible for developing materials, but we're also responsible for training teachers. And that's when I also started teaching in what was called at the time the TTC, the teacher training course. I taught methodology. At the time, I didn't have any formal background in the field, so I had to do a lot of research and learn by myself. I have a degree in journalism, by the way. And yeah, so I'm one of those accidental teachers, people who started teaching just as a job while I was going to university. But then I just fell in love with the profession and I decided to give up journalism and pursue the profession. And that's when I decided that I needed to specialize in the field. And working in a binational center and that's linked more to American traditions for teacher development, I decided to get a master's in TESOL degree from Arizona State University. So I moved to the US in 1998 with my family, and I lived there for a year and a half in order to pursue my degree. And then when I came back, that's when I really started my serious work with teacher training and with writing, because that's what I did my research in. And so there have been many challenges along the way. And I guess the current challenge we have is learning how to reinvent ourselves as teacher developers in the light of the new generation that we are training nowadays. They are very different from my generation and maybe from the generation that came afterwards. They have different needs. They have there are different ways of approaching them. What worked with people from my generation or from generation Y, let's say, I don't know, it doesn't work with this generation. So we have to find new approaches, and I think that's. And I'm not complaining about this and thinking about, oh, the good old times, I miss them. I'm not that kind of person, because I think that just as we have to adapt to the students we have in our classrooms, we also have to adapt to the teachers we have in our institutions. So nowadays, I guess this is the greatest challenge, having to adapt. And with this massification in a good sense of English language teaching, with schools getting more specialized and improving their services, and also implementing bilingual programs like a program we also have. We find teachers at a lower level of proficiency that we have to bring quickly to a higher level, and we have to teach them things that we never had to teach teachers
Before.
before. Um,
Yes.
so that's been a challenge for us. But I see it as a good challenge, and I also see it as an opportunity.
Yes, definitely, because it's kind of exciting to, because we always want, for example, students to develop critical thinking and etc. But now we have to develop ourselves, so
Of
it's
course.
quite exciting. And I was also reading the post you published on Richmond Share, called "Your Institution Needs You in Order to Survive." It was also
Uh-huh.
super interesting because you mentioned, now that you said that you have challenges, we have to face challenges training new teachers. You mentioned there are quite interesting aspects that teachers have to be aware of in order to become valuable to the institutions they work for. Uh,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, in the past, teachers had this feeling that their job was to teach, to give a good class, and it was the administrator's job, the marketing department's job, the registrar's office job to recruit students. Well, not I think retention has always been a teacher's worry, but recruitment and making students feel comfortable in the institution, worrying about the sustainability of the institution was not on their radar, right? I'm a teacher. I'm here to do my job. I study things related to teaching. I don't care what's going on in other respects, because there are people here who can do this job for me, right? But now I see that we need teachers all the time to help us promote the institution. I think it has to do with the competition. I think it has to do with helping students differentiate institutions and see the value of institutions. It has to do with how people see workers from a particular institution, that they represent the institution. So if they're not proud of where they work, why am I going to hire services from that place if even the employees who work there are not proud? So I even mentioned that, well, if you don't feel that you are proud, maybe you should rethink your
Where you
job,
work?
right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we need to be happy where we are, right? Of course, institutions are not perfect. Sometimes, as administrators, we have to make tough decisions. Sometimes decisions that are not in teachers' favors, but that are in favor of the sustainability and perpetuity. We worry a lot about this at Casa Thomas Jefferson, perpetuity, because we see lots of institutions that have come and gone. We've seen institutions that are in difficult situations. So, and this is very, I mean, Brazil is not a country where perpetuity is a theme. We are used to things coming and going, and we have to think about future generations. We have to think about what institution are we building for the next generations and the next and the next. So we can't, just take advantage of all the benefits we have, knowing that they might compromise the perpetuity of the institution. So this is tough, but I think we can only achieve this if we have honest conversations with teachers, if we show them, and especially this new generation. I am not saying this in a patronizing way or in any sense, but they're like, explain it to me like I'm 2 year old, a 2 year old, but in a good sense. They need to know, they need to understand. I think old previous generations trusted the knowledge and the expertise and the good sense of their administrators. And I think this newer generation that has more access to information, for the good or for the worse, right? Because this is a double-edged sword, because it can be good information or fake information, but whatever it is, they have more access to information. And so it is our job, it's very important to make things very clear to them and to explain why we're doing things the way we're doing them. This is ever more important nowadays.
Brilliant. I couldn't agree more, because it's exactly the same feeling I have. It's we have to be happy at work, and we have to know why we're here. So it has to be super clear. And I attended a session with Carlos Alberto Costa from Cambridge Assessment, and he mentioned you very dearly when he showed
Oh,
us your
really?
book. Yes, it was super cute. And he said, and I'm not here to advertise anything, but this is a book you should have. So can you tell us a little bit about your book as well?
Well, my book is a dream that I've had for many years. Well, as I said, I majored in journalism, so writing is something that is really important for me. I majored in journalism because I liked writing, and especially nonfiction writing. I liked writing articles, and liked writing about life, about facts. I am not a creative writer, for example. But then I realized that journalism was not just about writing, and that there were certain aspects in the job that I didn't like so much. And at the same time, I was already teaching, so I fell in love with teaching. And in my teaching, I've always worked hard on the teaching of writing, because I've always felt that our school system was very negligent in the teaching of writing in the mother tongue. I felt that as a student, I was a talented writer, so I didn't have a problem with that. But those who were not did not get the scaffolding, the training that they needed, because teachers always taught the talented ones, right? And left everybody else behind. And we can see this today in our school system. I mean, I don't need to explain this, right? And then I went, as I said, so even as a course supervisor, I implemented a very serious writing curriculum in the courses that I supervised, in the sense of having writing objectives for every level, very clear objectives, so that we would take students from zero to what we expected them at the end of the course in a very planned and pedagogical way, so that we wouldn't be repeating things and forgetting other important aspects. We would focus on all the dimensions of writing, not just grammar and accuracy, but content, cohesion, coherence, genre. Genre is something that is really something that I've been working on a lot. More and more. My talk in the in the IATEFL conference in a month is about that. I gave this talk in the last Brastiso conference about the importance of teaching students the different genre, because writing is not one thing. You write for different purposes in different genre, and they have different ways of writing. And if you don't know how to write in that genre, you can lose opportunities, and you cannot make yourself fully understood, etc. So when I decided to move to the US to get my master's degree, I did my applied project on writing and assessment, which are my two favorite topics. My project was on portfolio assessment of ESL writing back in the early 2000s. Nobody knew what portfolio assessment was. And I implemented a portfolio assessment system in a course at Casa Thomas Jefferson. Portfolio assessment is not just about collecting a bunch of pieces of writing in a folder. There's a lot more to it. It's about growth. It's about choice. It's about self-evaluation and reflection. So I implemented all of these elements. I wasn't able to take this to the mainstream because the mental model at the time of teachers, parents, students did not allow that. You understand me when I say, when we work in large institutions, there are certain changes that are harder to make because you have to please a wider audience and not just a niche, right? So I was able to implement my project in certain courses, in writing courses, but not mainstream. And so I continued working teacher training course. I've always taught writing for teachers. 2 years ago, I developed an online course called Writing for Teachers, in which, with the objective of, it had a double objective, which was helping teachers improve their writing, and at the same time teaching them how to teach writing. And that's where my book came from. It came from my course. So I used
Oh.
my course materials and I put them together in a book, of course, with some additions and changes. But the book is a kind of a compilation, in a way, of everything that I had been writing here and there and presenting here and there on the teaching of EFL writing. So it's not like, I wrote it from scratch. I had it all there, and I just needed a bit of confidence. And that's when our what's it called when you don't think you're capable of doing things? The imposter syndrome attacked me, because I never felt confident enough to write a book on that. Because I thought,
Okay.
who am I? There's so many books on teaching writing, so many great books by great international writers. So who am I to write a book on this? Who's going to read my book? And then I saw Vini's and Katarina's book on getting into teacher education,
Same.
and I saw their book and I said, "Gosh, this is something that I could have done. Of course, not in the topic that they wrote, right? But they did it. They're like me. This is something I could have done.
Yes.
So I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to write my book, and I'm going to get published." So I was
Amazing.
so I was kind of inspired by two Brazilian colleagues who showed me that we do have things to say that maybe international authors don't, because we have our own perspective. And something that I always missed in the books that I saw was that they never had practical examples, because they
Okay.
write for a worldwide audience, right? And they're always focused on, either it's a very thick book with a lot of theory on writing, or it's a chapter in a methodology book with general instructions of how to teach writing. And I thought, I want to write about how to teach writing in EFL, not in a writing course, not in a university in the US, for teachers who have to juggle teaching writing with teaching reading, listening, speaking, everything together, because that's our reality. And that's how it came about. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy to know that people enjoy it. And I used examples from my own institution, from my colleagues. They're not only my examples, things that I have written, but they wrote in many cases under my job as an academic. Now we call it corporate academic manager. The title has changed, but the job is practically the same. And I'm very proud to see that they themselves have developed. And when I see the writing assignments that the course designers produce now, I feel so happy to see that I have contributed, and they have become independent, just like our students, when we teach them
Yes.
something and we want them to be able to do it without having to ask us. That's what's happening there. So I feel very proud. And now my next goal is to write a book on assessment.
Amazing, really. And one of the things that we really want when talking EFL is to show teachers that there are many things we can do, and people like you inspire us to see it is possible. So if they are fighting, they're accomplishing so many things because they work really hard. So you inspire people to pursue their dreams as well. And
Great.
Isa, this is now your moment. If you'd like to leave a message to everybody watching, would be really thrilled.
Well, as you were saying, I think we should never underestimate ourselves. We're capable of doing more than we think. On the other hand, we can. I see that there's also on the other hand, there's a mistake that we can make, is to overestimate ourselves and maybe try to do things that we are not ready to do and overexpose ourselves. So we have to to find the right time and the right balance, so that we neither underestimate ourselves or overestimate ourselves. as you said, it's hard work that brings us here. I also think that I used to be very reserved as a professional. I tend to be a very reserved person, even though it doesn't look like it. I'm very sociable and I'm always smiling, etc. But I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. Um, and something that has helped me a lot is connecting with people on social network and conferences and making it a point to attend the talks of the people that I have known for a long time but haven't met, and introducing myself. I think we become stronger when we have this community. It makes me feel so honored, for example, to hear that Alberto, someone I really admire, talked about my book. This is
Yes.
so special to me. And this is because of social network, because
Mm-hmm.
of bonding and keeping in touch and exchanging ideas with people who do the same things we do. Sometimes having heated discussions, but always very respectfully. So I
Mm-hmm.
think we have to engage in this community, and we have to
Yes.
make this community stronger. And there's a place for everybody in it.
Thank you, Isabella. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you. And I wish you all the very best and keep on inspiring people with your work.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure for me too. I feel absolutely honored to have been selected for this series that you're presenting. And good luck to you. Congratulations on the
Thank you.
initiative,
Thank
and keep
you.
on doing the great work you've been doing. You are a great example of what teachers can do.
Thank you so much. And I hope to see you in
Thank you.
Brasilia sometime because I'll be in July. I'll
Yes,
be
well,
there.
you have two chances to can I do just quick
Yes,
advertising? You
absolutely.
have two chances to see me in Brasilia. We have our joint seminar with IBEU and alumni on July 22nd through 24th. Everyone is welcome. In fact, the call for papers is out. And we're also hosting the Brelt on the Road this year
Yes, I'll
at
be
Carlos
there.
Thomas Jefferson on
Yes.
September 7th. So you see, there's no escape from Brasilia this
Okay.
time.
Hey, it's me again. Thank you for watching. You can find all the links in the description below, and we hope you have enjoyed it. See you around.